I'm about to trigger 90s kids with this. Classic. Hello everyone, it's 2023. Finally, a whole new year of stuff to do. I took a little bit of a break since my last video. It's been about a month. It's actually been about 3 weeks since I recorded anything. Holy crap. It's actually been about even 2 weeks since I've been down here. Basically immediately after Christmas, I got sick. Wife got sick, kid got sick. Everybody got sick. Influenza A has kicked people's butts. But first video of 2023, I'm going to be doing something that I've been wanting to review for a while. And I've actually had it for a while too. I bought it a couple of years ago. I just thought it'd be a neat thing to review. And that is this. The classic NES Games 150-in-1 multi-game cartridge for the Game Boy Advance handheld console. So, let's take a look at it. So this little cartridge here, yeah, these things pop up on eBay all the time, Amazon all the time. I think AliExpress, Alibaba, Wish. It pops up everywhere. This is that weird gray area legality multi-cart thing that you always see them for sale, like 30 bucks, somewhere around there on all these sites. And basically the idea is they cram as many ROMs in here as they can and sell them as multi-game cartridges. Now, obviously, like I said, these are gray area legality. So this little cartridge here is the almost exact same thing as the Super Games 150-in-1 NES cartridge that I reviewed on the channel. Oh God, it's been a while since I reviewed this thing. But yeah, about the same concept. Basically, they take 150 NES and Famicom titles of different regions and cram them on here. Some of them, obviously, the legitimacy is a little bit wonky. But I reviewed this last year on the channel, or year before on the channel, somewhere around there. And I actually had a lot of fun. I've actually been using this thing a lot to play like Mario 2 and Mario 3, the Castlevanias, the Mega Mans, the Turtles games, Ninja Gaiden. I've been using it to play a lot of games. And even though I don't have any footage of me playing those games, because I've just been playing them on my off time, they're actually really fun. This is almost the same concept. It's just a bunch of NES titles on here. So we're going to take a closer look at this here in a second. But I do want to talk about the differences between these two cartridges and why they're not exactly the same. Obviously, the game list is going to be a little bit different. This has games meant for the light gun. In fact, it has, I think, 4 or 5 games meant for the light gun, which obviously you can't play on the Game Boy. So there's actually a few changes in here. And there's a couple not legitimate ROMs in here. They're ROM hacks, but just a few. Also with this, the ROMs in here are set on a chip in such a way where it actually uses real hardware. It's the full ROMs. This actually utilizes a emulator called Pocket NES. That it uses the real ROMs, but it goes through this emulator in order to work on GBA hardware. Because real NES games will not work on GBA hardware correctly. That's kind of why during the early 2000s, the NES Classic Series Game Boy cartridges that were out there, they were not the original ROMs. They were heavily modified by Nintendo to work on the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance SP. But yeah, so let's take a quick close look at this and see what it is. Okay, so here's the cartridge. And as you can see, it's this nice red color, very similar to the Pokemon Ruby cartridge that was out there, but it's a reproduction cartridge casing. You can see there's an itty-bitty backup battery right here. So this does use save states, which is actually really nice, especially when you're playing some of these games where you're on a Game Boy, you need a way to save the games. On the back, you can see it does say Nintendo, but this is not officially licensed product, like at all. There's no Nintendo on the PCB that I can see. And the label here is actually hilarious. It says 150-in-1, shows Mario. It shows, I think that's supposed to be Luigi, but for some reason the palette looks a little weird. Classic NES games, but those are not NESs. Those are actually Famicoms, which, yeah. It's not the Japanese version of the NES. It's actually the way around. The NES is the American version of the Famicom. But yeah, so some of the ROMs on here are actually Famicom titles, but they're English translated, which is actually really nice. And I'll show you what I hear in a second. Because this cartridge actually has a lot of fun games on here. So let's take a look at the games real quick, and then we'll have some fun. Now, ideally, we would be playing this on my Game Boy Advance, because it will work on here. But I have to have the Game Boy tilted in a certain way in order to see it correctly, and in order for me to get it right on the camera, I can't see the screen at all right from where I'm sitting. But we can fix that. We're going to be using my Nintendo DS Lite here. This is one I've had for a while. I got it off eBay. It's got a bad hinge, but yeah, it still works. It's just the hinge doesn't work very good. Now, I would love to pop this into my GameCube with my Game Boy player and put on the big screen, do some direct capture, and show you how all the games are on here. But I can't. I don't have a Game Boy player. I don't know what's been going on with my direct capture system here, because the computer works just fine. OBS is working. The composite capture card's working just fine. In fact, I even took it upstairs to test to make sure it was working right. But like I mentioned in the Christmas video when I was talking about the Grinch, it was doubling up the audio, and for some reason it's not detecting certain settings. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna pop this into my DS Lite here. I'm gonna pull out what have been playing. Super Mario DS. All right, so let's play some games. Oh, this is so much better. So as you can see, the screen is kind of altered a little bit to fit the screen a little bit differently. You can see this border. It's actually, the Pocket NES thing is actually setting it to more of to fit better on a Game Boy Advance screen. So that's kind of why it doesn't fit correctly on this DS Lite bottom screen. But yeah, I'm gonna go through the game list real quick, and I'll put all the games down below so you know what they are. We have Adventure Island 1 through 4, Adventures of Lolo 1 through 3. I'm gonna butcher some of these. Stanax, Batman, Battletoads, Double Dragon, Bionic Commando, Blades of Steel, Blaster Master, Bomberman 1 and 2, Boy and His Blob, Bubble Bobble 1 and 2. For anyone who's into NES stuff, Bubble Bobble 2 is a rare title. We have Castlevania 1, 2, and 3, Chippendale Rescue Rangers, Cobra Triangle, Contra Force, Crystalis, Devil World. We have Donkey Kong, the original arcade, this is the NES version. Donkey Kong Jr., the NES version. Double Dragon 1 through 3. Dr. Mario, a classic NES title. Dragon Warrior 1 through 4. DuckTales with that classic sound. We got Excite Bike, Xanadu. I can't pronounce that. Xanadu. Fester's Quest. Where's the Nerd? Final Fantasy 1 through 3. I haven't played through these yet, but I believe these are actually the NES versions of Final Fantasy 1 through 3, so it would technically be Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6 for the American side, I think. We have Fire and Ice, Galaga. This is a good way. This is a great way to play Galaga. I've been playing this like crazy on this, and it's actually really fun. It's really close to the arcade version. The NES version was actually really close to it. Ganbatter Gomen. I think that's I don't know what the English name of that is, but it's a Japanese title. Gargoyles Quest 2, Ghostbusters, Ghosts and Goblins, Goonies 2, Radius, Guardian Legend, Gun Knack, Holy Diver, Ice Climber. This actually reminds me, I need to start playing some of my GameCube games again and replay Smash Brothers. Ice Hockey. Kind of a weird inclusion here. That a sports title, but whatever. Ikari Warriors, Jackal, Journey to Silas, Kickle Cubicle. Never heard of that title before, actually. Kid Icarus. Yeah, a classic, another NES classic right there. Kid Mickey Radical Ninja, Kirby's Adventure. Yeah, another kind of pricey title for the NES, actually. Clacks, Kung Fu. This is another weird one because Kung Fu for the NES, even though it's a okay game, I never really think of like that being in like a 150 thing. Legend of Zelda 1, Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, Zelda Outlands. This is the one of the ones I was talking about being a ROM hack, but it's a very well made ROM hack. I've actually heard about this before. I've seen physical cartridges of this, physical NES cartridges, fan made ones, and apparently it's a really fun, really well made and polished ROM hack. Legendary Wings, Lemmings, Life Force, Little Nemo Dream Master. Never heard of that game before. I think that might be a weird Japanese translation. I don't know. This one, though, the next one. Little Samson, the English version of Little Lickle, which is on this cartridge here. So yeah, I can play the English version of Little Samson. For anyone who's into NES stuff. It's a rare cartridge. Lode Runner, Maniac Mansion, Marble Madness, Mario Brothers, the arcade version, which is awesome. Mario Golf, Mega Man 1 through 6, Metal Gear, Metroid. I have been playing this like crazy. I love Metroid. Thinking of that, I need to track down a copy of Metroid 2 and Super Metroid on the Super Nintendo. I used to have it, but it's not on my shelf anymore. I think years ago, I might have let a friend borrow it, but I'm trying to remember what friend I would actually have trusted enough to loan a Super Nintendo game to. Mickey's Mousecapades, Micro Machines, which is really weird because I can play it on this or I can play it on the NES. I actually have a cartridge of it. Moon Crystal, Earthbound Zero, better known as Mother. That's awesome. Mr. Gimmick, Miss Pac-Man, The New Ghostbusters 2, Ninja Gaiden 1 through 3, Over Horizon, Pac-Man, Paperboy. 10 out of 10, great game. Unless you're the nerd. Parasol Stars, Paratus, Pipe Dreams. I think I actually have that physical cartridge. Power Blade, Prince of Persia. I think that's pronounced Kix, QIX. Rad Racer, RC Pro-Am, Ring King, River City Ransom, Russian Attack, Rygar, Section Z. I think I have that on physical cartridge too. Shadowgate, Shatterhand, Skater Die 2. Weird that it's not Skater Die 1, but whatever. Shake, Rattle, Roll, Snake's Revenge. I don't remember if that's actually Metal Gear 2 or not. I don't remember. Solomon Keys, Solstice, Space Invaders, like the classic Space Invaders. Star Force, Star Soldier, Star Tropics 1 and 2, Summer Carnival 92, Rekka. Don't know what that is. Super Contra, Mario Brothers 1, the classic. The English version of Mario 2, that weird one where it's kind of like a stage play, and Mario 2 Japan, which is the true sequel to Mario 2, also known as the Lost Levels in a lot of the Super Mario All-Stars compilations. Sweet Home. I have been wanting to play this game for a long time. If you don't know what Sweet Home is the survival horror game that was on the Famicom. I believe it was also on, correct me if I'm wrong, DOS, I think. This is the game that inspired Resident Evil. In fact, Resident Evil was actually a remake of Sweet Home, a soft remake of Sweet Home, because the developer and the creator wasn't very happy of the technical limitations of the NES and the Famicom. And the PS1 allowed him to really push the envelope a little bit, but they had to change a lot of the stuff for the story because it was actually based on a movie called Sweet Home that the director allowed them to make. So yeah, it's really weird. I've been wanting to play Sweet Home for a long time. This is like the beginning of Resident Evil. Tecmo Super Bowl. Again, kind of a weird one that they added a sports title in here. Tetris. I mean, you can't not have a compilation without Tetris. TMNT 1 through 3. To the Earth. This is the only unplayable one on this cartridge. Because To the Earth technically uses the light gun. And it means I can't play this game. Twin B 1, 2, and 3. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Euphoria. Vice Project Doom. Wario's Wood. Willow. Wizards and Warriors. Xevious. Yoshi's Cookie. Xanac. So yeah, the game list here is just phenomenal. There's a couple of games in here that are kind of weird, but a lot of games I can at least play. At least know of. So Let's just play a few games. Not too much of them though. Obviously, I gotta try Super Mario Bros. 1. See how well it is. What's really weird is that I'm used to playing this on my Game Boy Advance, and the buttons are just a little bit smaller on the DS. So I'm having a kind of a problem with my fat thumbs here. Awesome. Yeah, so the left and right buttons here, I actually bring up the menu. There's cheat finder. I can do auto fire, controller. I can do change display settings. I can do flicker, unscaled. Yeah, I can do so much cool stuff. I can restart the console and go right back to the main menu. It's actually pretty nice. Pretty nice. Let's try Tetris. So I don't know if you can see it, but the text is just a little bit squashed, and I think it's because of the weird emulator that has to be working with this. That doesn't sound like Tetris music to me. Is that dun, 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 is that Nutcracker? Oh, I better turn that off then. Don't want no copyright strikes. I wonder what the 8-bit guy would think about. Oh crap! Oops. Let's just build up some blocks here and get a line to break here. Cool. Let's try another game here. Let's try. Yeah, let's try. Let's try Metroid. This actually plays very well. Oops. Hmm. Can't turn into a morph ball. That's weird. Yeah, so you can read it right here. It says Pocket NES 2013 07 So yeah, I just the emulator it's using. Try Kirby's Adventure. God, it sounds so weird. It even sounded weird on the other cartridge. Yeah, the down thing works. I don't want no copyright strikes. Oops. So yeah, that is the classic NES 150 in 1 cartridge for the Game Boy Advance and DS Lite and Game Boy Player. But yeah, this is actually a really fun cartridge. I have been playing this for about a year now, and I've actually I kind of realized as 2023 started, I didn't make a review of this yet. I reviewed the NES version, but I haven't reviewed the GBA version yet. And I kind of wanted to because this was a nice little, it was a Christmas gift to myself. Uh, God, I think it was right when the first year I started the channel. Um, we were planning on going on a work trip for work, another state away for a convention thing, and I needed a way to play some games because unfortunately my phone wasn't the greatest. Wanted to play some games, so I had a DS Lite, bought this, and it's actually really fun. This is a perfect road trip thing because I can play all my classic NES games I love playing: Zelda, Metroid, Mario's, Castlevanias. I can finally play Castlevanias on the go anyway because I can technically play it on this. But anyway, yeah, this is actually a really fun cartridge. If you come across these with the right game list, and yes, double check the game list because I've seen a couple of these that say 150 or 143 or 120 or even 300. It's all, most of them are full of ROM hacks, bad translations, uh, weird regions thing. This one I kind of got lucky on. If you come across these and the game list is correct, more than worth it. More than worth it. I don't remember what I paid for it back then. I'll have to check the Amazon listing. But I think it was like $25, I think, back then. Well worth it. Because, if I don't want to come down here and play it on my NES for whatever reason, like, on a road trip or taking my kid out to see grandpa, you know, I can play this. I can even show my dad some fun games that he hasn't played for a long time, which is actually a really neat idea. Obviously, I cannot promote or endorse you to buy these because technically speaking, this, like this, is a very, very weird gray area in terms of legality and piracy, technically, because of the way Nintendo is anal about their protection of their IPs. That's a whole nother argument. That's almost a podcast of sorts. But yeah, anyway, I can't promote it. I can't endorse it. So if you come across one for the right price on certain websites and you don't mind picking one up, spending your own money on it, go ahead. But I can't endorse it. I can give a good glowing review. This is actually a really nice thing. And it works on original Game Boy Advance hardware. This is my unmodded Game Boy. There's no mods to it. This is the one that I reshelled earlier on the channel. It works on my busted DS Lite here. It even supposedly works in a Game Boy player. I've seen some reviews on Amazon that say that. I can't prove that because I don't have a Game Boy player. It's weird that the GameCube was my favorite favorite console that generation, and I don't have a Game Boy player. I even talked to my brother-in-law. He collects GameCube stuff too. He has most of the GameCube library. He doesn't even have a Game Boy player. So that's actually on my list of my wish list. Is to get a Game Boy player. That way I can play my Game Boy Advance games on the big screen. It'd be easier for direct capture too, and it would also make it easier to play this. But yeah, really fun cartridge. You come across it, check the game list. Usually I have found that the lower numbered ones usually have less ROM hack stuff. And yeah, Zelda Outlands is actually a highly rated ROM hack too. There's some Japanese titles on here. That's fine. But yeah, the games that are on here that I do recognize and that I know, I can play them. I can play the Mega Mans on the go. I can play the Castlevanias on the go. I can play all that stuff on the go. Cheaper than a lot of other options. So yeah, with that being said, thank you everyone for watching this video. I took a short break after Christmas. In fact, I haven't been down here for over 3 weeks. The last video I recorded was actually the Christmas video the day before Christmas. And before that, it was like a week before that was the Texas Instruments video that was extremely cringy to do. I will admit that. Even my Even my wife said it was actually pretty cringy. That being said, thank you everyone for watching this video. If you want to see me play any of these games in a dedicated video, whether it's on this, or any of my games I have in my collection, put it in the comments and I'll get to it. Now that I have a dedicated capture system, I should be able to at least play the games and capture them. But yeah, put them down in the comments. Hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload more content, because one of my resolutions this year is more consistent recording, editing, and uploading schedule. I want to grow the channel as far as I can grow it, which is why I don't mind investing a little bit once in a while. I got a new wireless microphone, which I hope is recording just fine. 23, new year, new list of stuff I want to get done. I can't wait. More than likely, if you ask for a game on here, hopefully it's on here, so I can do more direct capture until I get a Game Boy player, but that's, neither here nor there. But yeah, put in the comments if you want to see me review any game. Check out the channel, because somewhere on the channel in the community section, I think there should be the poll for the IBM PC restoration videos I'm going to start doing. Hopefully I'm going to start those in February for the IBM PC, at least the AT starting. Those are going to be fun restorations. Put down in the comments anything you want to see in the game room, because I am going to be doing a game room tour at some point. My game room's nothing special. I don't have anything super special, but it's my collection. I've had these games for a long time, and they're mine. So I wouldn't mind showing them off at some point. And overall, if you like everything that's going on with the channel, please subscribe. It does help the channel grow, because as the channel grows, I can make bigger and better videos, and I can do more and more stuff for the channel, like more game reviews, restorations, and other things like that. So with that being said, again, thank you everyone for watching the channel, everyone for check out the channel, watching this video, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.